Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean. Good afternoon. Hello and welcome to Connections 5.8G Alive. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus, the outfit that brings you 5.8G Alive. So, for our regular viewers, you're wondering, Terry-Ann, something is missing. Where's Jennifer? Don't worry, you're going to see Jennifer just now. We've changed things up a little bit for today because today is a special day. Hey, we're in September already. And listen, did you all enjoy that Emancipation Month? I cannot tell you of my excitement and Jennifer's going through our Emancipation series, talking with all of those business people, cultural ambassadors who have successfully transitioned their business and interests to second, third, fourth, and a fifth generation, culminating in our discussion with Keith Belgrove, current CEO and fourth generation head of the Belgrove's Funeral Services business. And as he said, it's set to go for another 100 years. So listen, our legacy is real. It is sure. We are having fun. Listen, we had so much fun doing the Emancipation series that we could not squeeze in sideways two very important events, August 6th and August 31st. Listen, Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago celebrated their Diamond Jubilee anniversaries of being independent nation states. 60th anniversary independence. Jamaica on the 6th of August and my beloved birthland, Trinidad and Tobago, on the 31st of August. Congratulations to both countries on the Diamond Jubilee celebration. So how did you spend your independence? You know, I'll tell you something. I usually enjoy looking at the parade and going down to the parade on the streets, the military parade, and looking on and really seeing the pride in our country's ability to be grown up. You have your own internal and external defense and so on. I had independence outside of Trinidad and I still tuned in and the excitement was real. It was a treasure. So salute Jamaica and salute Trinidad and Tobago. So let's get down to our business, Connections 50 Plus. Coming off of that theme, 60 years nation states, 5.8G, 50 to 80. Who's right smack in the middle of that? We diamonds. So we have decided to take a look at life beyond the Jubilee for us, because we think as we move through the third act of life, we can take a lot of lessons from the experience of nations as ours, and a lot of lessons from people who are successfully transitioning. And Jennifer and I thought the best way that we can start this off was to do as we do. Have someone give us some advice. So we have reached out to a dynamic fourth act person. Yes, she's 89 and has done so well through the 5.8G transition from 50 to 80. And as I said, now it's 89. And we thought it would be so great to get some feedback from her on how she made her transition, what her issues were. And hey, why not some advice for us on how we could do it as well as hers? So relax. We are starting off our new series that celebrates all of us 5.8G who are approaching, celebrating, or continuing the celebration of Diamond Jubilee years. So here's Jennifer talking to Mrs. Elffy Fritz.
So we have a special guest this evening, and we are moving away from our normal 5.8G and we're going a little beyond the 80. And this is because we thought it would be so beautiful to have someone in the fourth stage, in the fourth act, because we are moving from the second to the third act, and we have someone in the fourth act to share with us the experience and to help us move from the second to the third, and those who are on the third to look forward for the fourth. So I want to welcome here Mrs. Elffy Fritz. And Mrs. Fritz is a former vice principal. She's an educator, still very actively involved in her church group, in many other groups, helping community. And Mrs. Fritz, guess what? She is 89, not looking anything like 89, very active, and we are so, so happy to have her with us this evening. As I said, not within the 5.8G, but the 8 plus. So Mrs. Fritz, welcome this evening to our show.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, listeners.
So I want to start by asking you, I'm starting with where you are now. You're moving from so we said 5.8G, that in the second stage, normally you are, when you're about age 50, you're not yet retired at that stage, then you move from that second stage to the third stage, which is normally 60 and beyond. And as we mentioned, you're in the fourth stage. So could you share with us what it was like your experience moving from that second stage when you're working to the third stage where you're no longer in the workplace?
Well, when I was no longer in the workplace in that stage, I made myself very, very, very active, joining organizations. I went ahead to do something that I wanted to do for my whole life, and that is to become a baker. I went to one of my students from, well, I have to let you know that I was a literacy teacher, teaching adult literacy. So one of my students who was familiar with a baker, she got me placed there, and I was learning how to do commercial baking. But I had to start at the bottom level with taking care of the pans and washing, and because it was a small bakery. So I did that for some time, and after I gained knowledge there, I was able to come home and do some of it for myself, and my children would take my products and sell for me at the offices and stuff like that. I
got into a little entrepreneurship there.
Right, of course. And it helped with the pension and all that went with leaving.
Good.
Right? And I continue to be very active in with organizations, the Child Welfare League, the Children of Peace UNESCO clubs. We did a lot of work there, helping less fortunate children with reading and writing. And we would do walkathons and parades and go on the greens and Piccadilly greens and on a Saturday morning and sit down and let them listen to two of us, Claire Augustus. She's no longer with us, but she was my partner in the UNESCO clubs. And we would go there and have spread or blankets and stuff for the children to sit, and the parents would come and listen. We did that for quite a while on a Saturday. Then we took them on trips, getting to know Trinidad and things like that. I became very, very active in that organization. The the Children of Peace UNESCO clubs, and our group, we did the carnival. All of that happened after I retired. The
Let me
carnival.
stop you a bit here, because you were a teacher at the stage of vice principal. When you left and you said you always wanted to do baking, did you feel at all that maybe in terms of having been a teacher to go to baking? Or you were
Well,
just all excited to
I was very
use all
happy
the skills?
and very excited to do what I wanted to do.
Great.
But my children weren't so happy to know that I wanted to go up there. But it was a small enterprise, and I made the owner very, very happy because I listened, I did
I can
whatever.
imagine, yeah.
I was quite, it became a success for me because I learned to do so much that I did not know.
And why I highlight this point is because at Connections 50 Plus, we talk a lot about when you move off from a second stage, you leave that behind and you focus on utilize your skills to make yourself happy and do the things that you always wanted to do. So, we talk about that a lot. So having, you here now confirming, and that is what you have done, and continue to be so active in community work, continuing with your teaching,
Yes, I used to
others.
teach adult education, persons from up to 70 who were able to read and write properly. And I got a great sense of joy, real happy when at least some of them, especially the adults, the older folks like 60, 70, were able to sign their name, their address and things like that, make out their own bank slip, even write letters to me, post it and learn how to sign and put the address on the envelope and stuff like that. It gave me a great sense of enjoyment. I was so overjoyed most of the time. And I'm so proud of myself to know that this could be possible, right?
I was about to ask you too, what would you say be your most memorable experience doing that transition, making that transition?
In the 70 plus, or well,
no, moving from 60, because as a teacher you would have retired at 60, and moving in from 60, the second act, as what we say, to the third act. What do you think would have been your most memorable experience?
Well, from moving from the 60 to the 70 was I had just related some of the stuff that I did.
Right, yes.
Experience, I would say, would be when I had was awarded the Anthony Panton Medal of Honor.
Wow. Yes, congrats. That's great.
I'm satisfied with that because it was for social work and helping in the neighborhoods of the less privileged. And there were the Anthony Panton's group, they were offering this award, and I was the recipient of the award. That's one of my happiest moments. And it came about all because during my working life, I was able to do a lot of work in the area where I taught. And, and can I say what?
Sure, go right ahead.
In the area where I taught, I went around to my classes asking, my children if they knew who was our Archbishop. Most of them know it was Anthony Panton, but some of them never saw him, and some others didn't know anything about him. So I wrote him a letter and asked him if he would visit with me at my school. Now, many persons felt that that might be impossible because it was in the neighborhood in which the school was.
Was
But
the
he
school a Catholic school or Roman Catholic school? Oh,
Catholic school, of course,
okay.
Roman Catholic school. And
Okay.
he did. He came, he visited with us. He went to all the classes and so met the teachers, the children. He spent half a day with us and everybody was overjoyed. And after that, he decided that he would go to all the Roman Catholic primary schools. I don't know if he went to secondary, but he went to all the Roman Catholic primary schools in Trinidad and Tobago, and he visited. It was a program that he set up. I had nothing to do with it other than my having
Your initial approach. Yeah.
right, right. So that was one of the reasons, because that I was given the award. The other reason was that where I worked, there were two primary schools. One school accepted people of a high income bracket and middle income bracket and stuff like that. The other school had to take the rest from wherever they came. And that used to pain me a lot because students from the school with the less privileged children could not come, not even to, not come into our school at all. And I would pray and hope that one day there would be an end to this. And that end came when I was the one responsible for admitting. I could not just admit children from certain areas. But what I did, I got in touch with the principal of the other school, and we formed a fusion, whereby we got children from our school to visit the other school with there was a lot of disturbance, and because some people didn't appreciate teachers and so did not appreciate it. But we did visit, we got together to have when we had prayer services, we got together, both schools got together. We started to do a lot of things together. We had concerts and stuff. Then at the end of the year,
integration, yeah.
and we called it a fusion.
Wow, yes.
And the children were very happy because some of them had relatives in each school. So now they were able to come by, and I myself gained a lot of young friends, children. They would come and visit because they would see me in their school pretty often, and they would come and look for me in my school. And the teachers themselves, we formed at the Christmas time, we got both the staff together and things like that. So I did not know all of that would have been recorded, but it was.
Yeah,
And
you pioneered that. Yeah.
right. And the fusion went on for a couple of years, and then we no longer needed it because they were friends. Everybody together were friends together.
Very good.
So that's how after I retired, then when they had this big presentation, I got that award, right? So that is what's so far.
So what I would like to ask you also, at Connections 50 Plus, we look at the 3 stages. So we said the earliest stage, which is the 50 to 60. Then we look at the 61 to 70, and then maybe 71 to 80. So we have those 3 stages all merged into one for the 5.8G. What would you, advise or say to persons at the different stages? Because, each stage, you getting into a different stage in life. What would you say to, let's start with those in the 50s, not yet 60, haven't left the second stages yet. And then we will move on to those in the 60s and 70s.
Well, it's the 50s who have not left the second stages yet. That is the time when most persons are still taking care of their families, the children in university and stuff like that. I will tell them to keep themselves focused on their families, keep themselves focused on whatever they have to do, keep educating themselves. They too can, now that the children, most of them, their children would have been grown up, and they grown up and being involved in getting themselves to a better place. I would advise that you two get yourself to a better place so that
Wow.
you become more independent as you move on in life. Because when you are 50 and you have to so much responsibility in that period, and you have families to take care of,
Yeah.
sometimes you tend not to take care of your own self. And I'm not talking about your makeup and this, that, and the other.
I know.
I am talking about what you have to do to make you ready for for 60. Because
Yeah.
regardless of what, in Trinidad, we have got to leave. There's
Yeah.
no, it's not like America where you go to 65. But at 60, most places, I can't swear because I don't know.
Yeah, they
Most,
do have the companies you can go to 65. But yes,
yeah,
but the
some
preparation.
government building, some government businesses may call you back temporarily.
But
But you have
even
to
though
prepare
you're
yourself.
talking about preparation, and they still need from the 50s to prepare. Yeah.
You have to prepare yourself so that when that time comes, if you are in a religious organization or if you belong to some form of you do some form of religious activity, I would say to get yourselves involved. Because at this time, within the church itself would be preparing the younger ones, the teenagers and so,
Yeah.
for for different parts of their life, their Christian life. So you might be able to help, right? But I would say that do not give up on yourself. Do not give up on your friends. Your friends, just keep your friends at that time because when you reach to that stage, 50 to 60, everybody gets so busy, as I said before, that they tend to feel that, we don't need company. But maybe you do not
Like
need
they focus a lot on their work life and
your
family. So that takes up all your time.
all the time. But remember other persons in this world. We all need each other. And as I always keep as my mantra, that friendship reaches heights unknown to love. When
Yeah.
you keep your friends, regardless, you mightn't see them for a long time, but a hello, it goes a long way. You could just give them a shout, or if you join an organization, sometimes you can just keep friends within the organization. I'm not saying that you have to go partying or whatever,
Yeah.
but just
But
get to know each other because true friendship does not die easily. So that's
great.
how I think about the
So
50s.
what would you say now for those who moving on to the 60s, the 60 to the 70s?
Past is 60 to 70. 60 to 70, get it right. You remember now that you've lost your title or titles.
Yes, all the
Some of
status
us,
from the
most of
job.
us, yes, because you're out of work, right? But keep being active. Find yourself involved in situations. Keep being active, keep doing as the best you can for yourself, helping as much as you can. Try to keep yourself with a smile. Do not become a couch potato. You know that some of us, by the time we pass the 60, we don't have to get up to go to work, so we sit down to watch our TV and you sit and sit and sit. Try to avoid that. Try if you have a fortunate to have extended family, a bigger family now, grandchildren or whatever. Get yourself involved too if you can in their lives. I'm not saying to interfere, but get involved in life. You might even be able to do some extra work because some of us, as I did, you
Yeah.
know, I found myself doing more work when I was in that 60 to 70 than I was doing before. Because here was I helping with children, teenagers from the Child Welfare League, helping, trying to focus on stuff, trying to gain stuff for the organization, going up and down, meeting people and
As I say,
helping.
learn new skills. You learned a new skill, and yeah,
Learn
and
my
that
skill. I would
skill
do
was
that,
able to bring in some income for you.
and then I help it with the pension. And then
Yeah.
I would find myself having to people who was in the child welfare. Sometimes we'd help persons who were ill and didn't have anybody to come in and we never did physical like nurses or so. We would come in and help to get you if we have to get a doctor or something like that. So it means that some of us have to be going up and down, trying to locate persons who are willing to give up their very self. I could remember, I could give an example. I knew this person, and somebody called me and told me she was very ill. And if I had known, I did not know. She asked me if I would visit because it was someone whom I could visit, and I visited. And when I visited, she was overjoyed to see me and related how serious the illness was. But she was saying to herself, she had no one to take care. So what I did, I decided that I will search and find. And I did that. I went to different persons. I called different doctors and stuff like that, asked for help, and I did get help. There are many persons in Trinidad who are willing to help, but I can help you if you could get in touch with them, if you could find
You
out.
have to reach out. It's about reaching out.
So, and she was able to get that surgery, and she was alone. She was alone. She the sad person. She had no children or anybody. She lived by herself and things like that. And she called it Meals on Wheels. So I gave her meals for a couple months. But other than that, I was able to get other persons to come in and visit with her. These are things that you do it on your own if you can or if you want to. And it takes up so much of your time. It really takes up a lot of your time that you forget
You
that
doing something you
yes,
enjoy doing and you
because
feel good about it.
age is a number, and you really don't, from my experience, you don't really feel old or feel, unless you're ill, very ill or something, you don't feel, well, look, the days, well, I'm 89, and you don't feel, well, I'm 89, and you keep thinking about it. You just know that you're on the cusp of 90, but and you don't know what that would bring. But I don't think I do not think about it all the time.
So when you reach like me now, 70, what would you say to my people? 70 to 80.
You're coming to the end of the 50 to 80. You
Uh,
can continue to do what you were doing in the 60 to 70 if you're physically able. But you could also look for something that will make your life more worthwhile. For instance, as you are involved in this 5G,
connection to the plus.
right.
So that's okay, 5.8.
Right,
Yes.
and it helps you to meet more people. It
Yes.
helps you, right? So in life, sometimes it's not easy to deal. You can't just say, well, I'm gonna do this or do that, and it's gonna be smooth and no problems. Problems do come. But when they come, you could take them as an asset. Sometimes they come and they cloud your life, but you could use it as an asset to a better day, and you could try to see what's going to be in store for you. I would recommend to anybody who is now 70 or going and do not stop. Be active. Prepare yourself, because as as you go forward, you cannot forget what went behind, but you can still look towards what will come, because tomorrow is not ours. No one knows tomorrow, right? So you could keep, if you belong to, as I said, if you belong to a church or something, that get yourself more involved in a church. If you want to give yourself a challenge, you're trying to read as much books about life, Christianity, try the Bible, whatever. Try to develop a hobby. Try to develop at that age, you try to develop a hobby, right? And you may have physical challenges.
Yeah.
You may have physical challenges at that age, arthritis or whatever problems may come your way, but do not let that be your name. Do not let that be your name.
Mrs. Fritz, you said that. That what you're saying there about illness, as we get older, yes, we would have some challenges. Many of us have all, the different type of ailments. But to focus on you know, it is so important not to keep focusing on the aches and pains, that when you meet someone, you complaining about how you feel, as against looking at the positives, the things that, you know, sharing like what you have just done for us here. Share all the things that you have been doing that bringing you that joy.
Well, you see, we may have physical challenges. Most of us do at this age, but they may become your greatest assets. Because sometimes you reach this age, you're talking about 70 to 80, and you have a problem, and you find like, hey, like I can't cross the street properly, or I can't get on the
You
pavement.
can't drive any night again.
Can't drive it. But then you have to hire somebody or get your relative.
Yes.
But like talking like you're walking in the road and you can't go down on the pavement. And you wouldn't imagine how many persons will say, can I help you? Even if you're dressed up nice and you look like 40, they will ask you. Then you realize that this world is a world that is open to so many. This world is a world where we have a lot of movement, opportunities. And that is why I say your greatest challenge, your physical challenges, they may become your greatest asset. Because there you are saying, oh my goodness, look, I couldn't expect this young boy to come right like this and help me. You know, you're so shocked.
Yeah, but what you are saying there, Mrs. Fritz, is that we have to accept the fact that we're aging.
Well, it is
certain things we cannot do anymore, and
but
be open to receive help and not to be so proud, feeling that, okay, we don't want them to know that we're not feeling well, or we can't do things for ourselves. So it's about accepting the fact that you're aging and be open to receive help. Isn't that so?
Well, yes, that is very, very, very so. But then we have people, the human being is like this. What more I feel at that age, what is 70 to 80, we are still in organizations. We are still in groups. We still belong to different types of clubs, you know, or yes. And what we have got to realize at that age that we must let go. So what I feel, I don't know if other persons will feel like this, but I personally believe in bringing in young people and giving them their chance together with me.
I'm happy to hear you say that.
Together with me to do whatever is possible to get to the highest point. For instance, if you are at a high point, and I could give an example if I could.
Sure.
All right, I was the secretary of the child welfare and superintendent of one of the areas, the Chicago Martin Child Welfare and secretary of it. But what I would do, I would take younger persons when I had a meeting, an important meeting, or if I had to meet someone, or I had to do something that I could have done, but I feel that a younger person need to know how to do it. I would take persons from the group. I would ask them if I don't just take them because it's adults. I'd ask them if they would be willing, and most times they would be willing to join me. And we would go to these meetings or go to meet someone and they were so happy, and you could hear them talking about it. And you don't have to feel exceptional or feel important, because really we're not important after you leave that 70, particularly after you leave 60, 65. If you have become an X, you were the head of this department or head of the other department, you're working in the ministry of this or the ministry of that, you're no longer the whatever you were, you are the X, right? And we got to realize that if the time will come, so we have got to share with young people. And sometimes that is what made cohorts become, like heroes in the eyes of some young people, because there's so much that you do for the young people, you do with them and for them.
So you're mentoring them.
Yeah, so you become your wisdom reservoir.
And also you're willing to let go. You let go of the reins.
And
As you
sometimes
said,
you are glad.
you don't have that status quo. You don't have to worry about that. That
Oh,
time.
because here is
after-
Jennifer, here is Jennifer Gibbons. She can take that. And if I'm not able, she can take over.
Right. So you don't need to hold on.
No, you don't need to feel that you are the only one. That is what.
I find that it's so critical for us.
And you must be able to accept that
Yeah.
you are not the only one in life to do certain things, right?
Mhm.
I myself, I know that I tried. And once I had a big function at the cathedral, and
Mhm.
that morning I was ill. Luckily, I did what I had done, and they put it another person, another younger person.
You can afford.
She came right up, as far as I understood, and did everything. And it looked like she was the one to do it. You understand? Because she
And
knew
you-
that I had
And
to.
you had no problem with that. Instead, you were very proud of that person.
I
You
was
did.
come
Yeah.
out. I can't remember if I was I don't know, can't remember right now if I was in the hospital or where I was. But I myself was very proud about that, you know. A person's new, you know, of course.
Yeah.
But good job. So
Let's
sometimes
talk.
we in that age, 70 to 80, we need to let go.
That's
need-
that. There's
Other
one
things
aspect
in families we
I
can't.
want to ask you. It may touch a bit on the personal, but not to get into your personal, your personal situation. And that is about, how do you manage, how have you been able to manage your health aspect? Have you been doing that period? Did you do are you doing any exercise, and how have you been able to
So
manage
it's
your
70
health?
to 80, 70 to 80,
No, yeah, up to reach your stage right now,
9.
still being
Well,
able to move about, your brain still clicking and still
thing is,
involved in community work.
I did not know until now. I did not know that I needed to do more than I was doing because I was very active up and down. I would when I'm in these states, I do a lot of physiotherapy and
Mhm,
exercises and stuff like that. I don't do so much of it at home, but I
mhm.
do. So personally, I do try to keep myself as active as I possibly could.
Right.
I find
Mhm.
things to do, not only word search and crosswords and stuff like that. I'm not a gardener, but if you are a gardener, if you like the gardening, get out there. My husband is 94 years old and he's out there. He tries
Right.
his best and he goes out and he will clean out all the leaves, the weeds, the everything, and keep active. And he could walk up and down as he wants up to this day. And you have to keep yourself employed. And if you do that, well, and the Lord has it in store that you live this long, it is very good to be active, right? I
Yeah.
do a lot, as I told you, when COVID struck, I
Mhm.
was in the United States, and with 65 and over, you had to be inside. So I
Right.
decided to study more about the baking. You've got to keep yourself active because I don't know what would have happened. You keep yourself active, your mind active. And I started to do a lot of baking and teach my grandchildren to bake. And one of them decided that she would do some entrepreneurship. So she was
Mhm.
sending out messages via phone because we couldn't go outside to people. And she was providing types of bread and types of sweet bread and Trinidad sweet bread, she called it.
Yeah, handed down. You see, that's
So
good.
all
That
different
you learn.
names,
Yes,
and she was able to do it like that. And we together, we worked. Well, I did let the business be hers, but I was doing this studying it and up and down the house and working assiduously to keep myself active. And you asked me up to now, because that was 87, 88.
Yeah.
And I was up, yeah. And now that I'm here, I still do. I have a grandchild who likes homemade food. So I'm still up and down working as much as I can. But I find the exercise is necessary and the walking is necessary. It's
Right.
needed to be served, but it's very, very nice to be of service. It's nice to
Ah,
be served. It's very, very nice to be of service if you can do it. Some of us can't do it, but but as I told you, we don't need to put a label ourselves with the illness.
right. Yeah.
And we know it will come. Sometimes it doesn't, but it will come most of the times. If you can travel, go ahead. If you said it's
But some people do like traveling. Yeah.
if you like traveling and you can, go ahead. Persons might find out why she up and down, so she always had to go. You don't worry about that. You go. You
Because you
travel.
still travel a lot. Yes.
You go, you travel, you go to and see places, and it makes you wiser, I feel. I don't know if I'm right, but it makes you wiser in that when you see some place, you see something on the TV, you can help the younger ones. They say, well, look, I saw the Rhine and so and so and so, and the river was this and that, right? And it gives them a wider knowledge. Because I was brought up in a home where our grandmother taught us from what she read. So as I grew older and the years went on, there are a lot of things I know about that I experienced only from her having read and related. And when I saw it in the open in true life, then I was able to appreciate it better. Reading is very, very important in your life, right? So you have to enjoy yourself, enjoy nature, take walks, travel if and when, as I said, travel if and when you can. That age group.
So for those of us who have to prepare our minds, prepare ourselves for that fourth stage, which is
Yes,
where you are at,
yes.
it is to continue being active,
Yeah,
continue
there are
doing the
no
things you love.
shortcuts to life. Huh? There are no
Right.
shortcuts to life. There's no easy way to mature physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. There's no easy way because sometimes you just don't know. You're not fortunate enough. You know, life hasn't given you the open spaces where you can go. But
Yeah.
whatever you have, take it and use it. And I feel that is how I feel, that is how I feel. Whatever you have, take it and use it for the better. Don't try to go backwards. I was the this of that and
Oh,
whatever. But you are not.
talk
No.
about in those days and in those days. No.
I was really in charge of a big, big factory telling people, but you're not telling them now. People may have to tell
Yeah.
you. So
You
you have,
know of that stage. Yeah.
even the children sometimes try to tell you as you grow old what to do or what should be done, but you take it as best as you can. And as all things, I believe, stay calm and try to stay calm in life. Try to stay as calm, which is difficult, as you possibly can, right? So, and you keep your mind active and work with God. I
Great.
believe without Him, all is lost.
So as we close this interview, let me ask you this too. And just how do you see really? I mean, you shared your experience and you give some very, very solid advice here. Um, our cohort, the older group, so the 5.8G, you know, what would you say to us? What is what do you see as our main role now in society to help the younger ones?
Well, I would start off with education. If the younger ones and the older ones, let's look at it this way. The younger ones, 20 to 49, they
Yeah,
have
trying to young, the under 50s,
35,
the under 50s.
20 to 35, let's say, start there. They have opportunities for education. They have opportunities to be much wiser than most of us were. They're exposed to so much. Some of them take it, some of them don't. I can't tell you the reasons because I have to know them personally. But they are wiser in that with book knowledge, but they don't have the experience. So what I feel we can do, we can try to be as close to them as we possibly could, give them some leeway, do not criticize. Do
Okay.
not complain about their behaviors constantly, because we have cultural pastimes in Trinidad. And one of our major cultural pastimes is complaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they have not walked where we have walked. And they make a lot of mistakes and stuff, but mistakes are made. And we can't just be critical. So the 50 to 80, I would say how you associate with the 20 to 35, be an example. Show respect for yourself. Show it yourself that you have built yourself up. Some off and on you may get, if you develop a relationship with some of them, you can share some of your life stories. They will be surprised to know you walk their route. Because that age group, as you're asking me about, 20, they don't feel you, they're looking at 80 and you wasn't small, too young to, they forget. But they don't realize that you too walk the road as,
Right.
but so different, because I say education plays a big, big part with them, because they are fortunate enough, if they accept, to know so much. Then you have the social media, you have the television, you have things like that. Then some of them get opportunities to go from one place to the other, because the parents, as I said, with 50 years, save the money to travel, and they take their children, most of them, if they can. So we have to respect them. But if we respect ourselves, we know how we carry about ourselves at that age, they will look at us with some admiration. And
Yeah.
they will go, if you know how I wish. And I will give you one last story.
So,
There was a girl, can't call her name, but there was a teacher, young teacher in that age group, 18. She came in there when I was a principal. I was acting principal for years. But so when I was there, she came in to work and so, and just something, she had a little difficulty. So I decided, look, I'll hold her. So people didn't know, nobody know. But I just used to, every morning she came, I give her a big hug and whatever. When she was leaving, she'd come, and she would come after a while and relate me all the problems. And,
yeah.
I try to help, but I couldn't solve them. They were family problems. And recently, someone asked me to get a child into a school at 88. And I said, Lord, all my friends either died or they're not in any, but I will try this particular school, because I heard that this girl was the principal. And all she used to say to me in my when I was at this school, I want to come out like you. I want to be a principal like you. So that's why I tell you, respect yourself. And what do you believe, when I asked her to speak to her, the teacher said, she said she didn't want to speak to you, to come into the school in the morning. So my granddaughter dropped me to this school, and everything. I wondered, well, why she want me to come into school is talk to me on the phone. So I went. And if you know what happened to me, that principal, I had to wait until she was finished with her morning devotion and whatever. And she came out to meet me, and the guard was at the gate, and it started at the gate with the guard. She related this story. This is right. And she did this, and blah, blah, and she went on to relate. And I went to over 20 classrooms, and she related that story 40 times, over many times.
Wow.
Who I was, what I did for her, how she became who she is today, and it went on and on and on and on.
It just shows, as you said, the impact that you had on her life.
And she went to her
You know,
office.
and she saw you as a role model.
So
Yeah.
here am I with my legs hurting me, as my knees hurting me. And she said, there's a hole in you could come up the stairs, and she go on like that. And when I was finished, I said, listen now, I came to ask you something. She said, what it is you want? I said, well, I want to get a child in your school. She said, of course, that's what you want. She said, well, I said, got the particulars. So I said, I have everything written. I have everything out that you would need. She said, have it? I said, yes. She said, what you call her secretary. Take this from Miss Fritz and so. And but I didn't know the child, neither the child parent, somebody asked me. So I said, listen, I don't want you to just take this child, I want you to find out, have an interview. Because
And do a proper interview. Yeah.
because I wouldn't want a parent, bring a child into your school who would let, because the standards high, well high. And I said to myself, just doing her with a hug, and she told everybody the same. She hugged me every morning, and when I was leaving, she hugged me. But I didn't know then.
Spread the love and encouragement.
Love. I didn't know at that time, neither did I know after I left. I would see her, we'd chat and stuff like that, but I didn't know, that it.
Yeah, you didn't do it for any reward. You didn't, you're not.
No, I was shocked beyond measure. I was just waiting to say, well, what is this? I was shocked beyond measure. And that is why say you're 50 to 60 to 70, share the love.
Yeah.
We can offer a smile. There's nothing as rewarding as a smile. You might see a person looking grumpy and disgusting. You go to, especially in a grocery, you go to the grocery, she's watching at you with eyes, just tell them a happy good morning. And sometimes they answer something, say, oh gosh, you look so tired. Oh gosh, miss you, you're tired. Or sometimes you see somebody that looks so pretty, voice it. Say, girl, you look so beautiful.
Yeah, compliment. It makes a difference.
And sometimes they say, miss, you don't know, you make my day. I soon come. If you know how much worries I have, they don't know you. And they make my day. And and you go about your business. But at that age, we should try to be as calm, as pleasant, as amiable as we possibly could. When life gives us other challenges, well, we have to take it because we are human, and there will be times when we would not be, able to do as we would like to. Okay.
Mrs. Fritz, I want to thank you so much. You have left, so many, as I said, great nuggets for us at the 5.8G cohort. And, it's really about living a life of gratitude, as you say, showing love, letting go, realizing that, listen, we have passed that stage. That status is not about status or anything again. It is about us loving each other. And as you mentioned, keeping friends, maintaining
friends. Like you want to remember that friendship reaches heights unknown to love. You don't have to love somebody, but if you're a friend and a true friend, your mark will be there on their heart and will be there forever. Right?
And I want to close with that statement you just made there. So thanks again. This is really beautiful chatting with you and to have you sharing and continued blessings, great health, and continue being active and looking like how you're looking.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
By you to teach me to bake.
Feel free. I will come over and make some rolls.
So continue enjoying life.
My granddaughter has a special container for her rolls. So I put it aside for her. And I look at her very often and she just go and take a roll and she is helping her to eat better.
You see, and as she move on and make a profit, she can give you some money out of it.
That one we did. She did so well. She was able to, in doing that COVID period in New York.
Yeah.
The PNP people were calling, asking for that coconut bread and the Jewish rolls and stuff like that.
So I thank you a lot. So we end this meeting.
Jennifer.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye. Okay, dear.
And that was our special guest, Mrs. Elffy Fritz, who is 89 and is vice principal and still continue with her activity and community work, etc. So I'm sure for this cohort 5.8G that we all learned so much from her. So I want to wish you, we'll continue it, of course, next week. We're back to our normal guests the under under 80s. And we will chat then. So bye for now.
Now, aren't you even more excited about being part of the 5.8G? Aren't you looking forward to life and energy? She gave us so many beautiful nuggets. The one I love most, you're never an ex. Ex what? You are who you are now. Isn't that so in line with a lot of the things that we have said you need to focus on? Be in tune with yourself. Come to terms with who you are now. Who you are now is a culmination of all of that experience. Be dollar savvy. Listen, it's not always for profit. Sometimes it's just a hobby, but something to support the pension, keep the bills going, contribute to the family, or whatever it is. And she used her passion for baking so well. And that all important. We are always a tribe. We must remember that you're not on an island, you're not alone. And I love when she said, especially for us in the 60s, treasure your friendships. Listen, I am on vacation now, and my vacation is anchored with a dear, dear friend who I met in secondary school at age 11. Next year, we're celebrating our Diamond Jubilee of friendship. And I can't tell you how important that is. And I know that Jennifer thinks the same because she too has a wonderful group of friends. And make no joke about it, the friends don't have to be friends from childhood. You can make friends now, as Mrs. Fritz said. Join groups. If it's not a church group, a community group, a sports group, get your neighbors together. Get together with a reading club. Get together with a sewing club, a gardening club. Just do something communally, and let's make this Diamond Jubilee period a solid one. So we will see you next week. Thank you again, Mrs. Fritz, for that wonderful start. And we're off to celebrating Diamond Jubilees. Bye.
50 Plus Tribe, and follow us from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.